Hi guys, welcome back to another video. It's me, Jack the Kimosabi. So today's video I'm gonna be doing something different. I'm gonna be talking about uh two book series that I like both kind of, and yeah, I'm gonna be talking I'm gonna one's a bit more known than the other, and I'd say more popular, and the other's like it's still well known but not as much. And I'm gonna be comparing the two. So the two books are um, Middle School: The Worst Years of My Life and Diary of a Wimpy Kid. So obviously, Diary of a Wimpy Kid is more popular. Everybody's heard about it. It's everywhere. But I think it isn't really as good as people think it is. People say it is, and I think Middle School: The Worst Years of My Life is pretty good and underrated. First let's talk about the main characters. So in Diary of a Wimpy Kid, it's Greg, and it I think that Greg is a bad person. I don't like him at all. I think he is a liar, and I think him being the main narrator of the story, it's like super biased, and a lot of the things that he talks about don't really happen, and that really doesn't let you understand what's really going on, and you kind of see everything from his point of view, which is not what's actually happening. He throughout the stories, he's proven to be like manipulative, like lying to get what he wants. Um, a jerk to like anybody close to him, like Rowley or his mom, who's just trying to be nice, and then he is like mean and just only looks out for himself and doesn't really think about his family and what would happen, like what he would do without them. And also, he's just really like mean to Rowley, and he should like the way he treats Rowley is terrible. And if you read like all the books, you could tell that what he does is not good. And Rowley clearly I don't know if he has a mental disability or he's just like not that bright, but you can tell like Greg knows that, and he just is like taking advantage of him for his own personal gain. Um, but yeah, he's proven to be like like he lies a lot basically, and he doesn't like think about the consequences of his actions, and he thinks that like he's the only smart person in the entire world and everybody else is just stupid, and like he's like the mastermind. And I don't know. I don't like that, and I think he's kind of a jerk. Now on the other hand, Middle School: The Worst Years of My Life, the main character Rafe is like he when he's like not saying the truth, you can tell because he does it with like an imagination. He's not just like, oh, this happened when it completely didn't. Like he'll like how he drew his mom's fiance in the first book as an actual bear because that's what he called him. Like, you know that that's not true, but he just like drew that to like kind of give you an idea of how he acts. And he doesn't lie in the story or um like manipulate people. He does break the rules, but like he acknowledges what he's doing is wrong. And I think he's just a kid with maybe like ADHD and an overactive imagination. And I don't think that's a bad thing. Like when he stands up for what's right when it really counts. And he's been through a lot worse in his life. Like he's had a lot more difficulty in his life than Greg has. Like for example, like I keep saying his his brother, Leo, died at the age of 3, and you could tell that that's really had an impact on him because he still imagines, well, not imagines, he still acts like he's there even when he isn't, and he acknowledges that what he's doing, like, that he isn't really there, but he just says, like, what if he was there? And I think that is a lot better than what Greg does, which is like live in a fantasy world and not acknowledge it. But yeah, that's my um, what's the word, like comparison between the two main characters. So another thing I want to talk about is the book's progression, like I keep saying, like, the book, how the books have got on throughout the series. I think that Diary of a Wimpy Kid was the first, like, four, or actually, the first, like, 6 or 7 were, were good, and, then it just, after, especially once it hit 10, it was like up here, and then it started to go down a little, and then it went 10, and then it was like kept going and kept going. And I think that Jeff Kinney, the author, has flushed out every idea, and he should have ended the series at maybe 8 or 9 and not done anymore. But he knows that his books can make money, and that's why he keeps doing it. Like, I don't think he does it for the fans, because the fans of Diary of a Wimpy Kid um don't want more books, because they know they're gonna buy it and waste their money just because it's Diary of a Wimpy Kid, but they still won't enjoy it. When on the other hand, I think that Middle School Worst Years of My Life doesn't have as many sequels. It has, I think Diary of a Wimpy Kid has like 13, maybe 14. They have a lot, and Middle School Worst Years of My Life only has about like 10, 11. But they like maintained a certain level of quality that Diary of a Wimpy Kid didn't, especially like 7, book 7 was really good, where he's a normal kid, but he does it in a way that's like interesting, and he's not just living a boring life. For example, like playing flag football and hiding art like around the school. That's interesting. That's a new idea that hasn't been used. Instead of just Greg going to the beach or going on a road trip. They're the same thing. It's the same story. It's just tweaked a little bit, and I think that is why it is not very good. But Middle School Worst Year of My Life, it was for 5 and like books 5 and I think 5, yeah, yeah, the one where it was his sister versus him, like that book, and then the book about him going to England. Those weren't very good, but then it started to pick up. It had the one where he did the like trials. I forget if it wasn't really trials, but like the thing in the desert where he had to like earn his spot back at HVMS. That was really good. The one where he went to, well, book 7, the one I talked about earlier, was also very good. But towards like 11, like not 11, 10, or no, the Australian one, so 9. That was not great. It was kind of like it was like what Diary of a Wimpy Kid is doing, where it's just like him going on a trip just to a different place every time, but it's the same idea. You get what he's doing. But I still think that it has the opportunity to go farther and make it farther as a series because Rafe is a more likable character than Greg. Next we'll get on to the supporting characters of each book. This is a tough one for me, like who to give it to, because I really like Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I like um, Roderick kind of, and I think Rowley is nice, but he's just a little slow, and that's really not his fault. Like he just that's just who he is. But like a scared kid who kind of hasn't really grown up yet. He's still like a 7-year-old in a 13-year-old's body. So those are the two that I like in Diary of a Wimpy Kid. In middle school worst years of my life, they have more of a group of likable characters. I would say they have Leo, who's sometimes a bit of a troublemaker. Let's be honest, but he seems like, even though he's not real, he's just Rafe's imagination. He seems like a good person, and also his mom seems very nice. She's always like encouraging him, and she's like not strict on him, but when he messes up, she isn't like she isn't super laid back. So I think that's a good thing. Also, his um his friend Flip seems like a nice guy, and he is also very likable. Also, him getting Rafe getting a dog versus Greg getting a dog. Rafe was didn't even like wasn't like pestering like, can I get a dog, can I get a dog, but even then when he got one, he was super excited, and like took him on walks all the time and really liked his dog. But when Greg got a dog, after pleading and begging for a long time, he didn't really take him on walks, didn't feed him, like didn't like take him outside, and he ended up just giving it to his grandmother. And I think that shows the kind of people that Rafe and Greg are. That's a perfect example of how they act. Rafe is genuine, he'll stick by your side, and even if he's not happy to be there, not happy, but not as happy as he could be, he'll still stick with you because that's who he is. He's just a good, genuine person. But Greg, the second he gets bored of you, you're nothing to him. He doesn't want you anymore. Get out of his life. So, yeah. But back to the supporting characters. Also, Miss Donatello, the Dragon Lady. She isn't in every story. There are some characters in the middle school worst years of my life that aren't in every book compared to Diary of a Wimpy Kid, where the main where it's his family basically and Rowley in every book except the travel ones. And that that's good that they have a good solid foundation of characters, but they really need to branch out a little more. Maybe Greg, like talk more about Greg in school and like how he interacts with people, and try and make it in someone else's eyes, point of view, I guess. But not Rowley's. That one book was bad. But because if you haven't heard about it or read it, Rowley did a similar Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and it ended up being Greg just taking it over and doing it all himself, and it wasn't Rowley's journal like it should have been. But yeah. Oh, the supporting characters. Mrs. Donatello, aka the Dragon Lady, she's very supportive and encouraging towards Rafe's artwork, just like his mom, and that is why she is his favorite teacher and his favorite person, like adult outside of his family. And I think she's a very good character because even though you only see like a part of her, she still is very likable, and you can agree with her, and you can be like, yeah, what she's doing is good. What she's doing is nice. It seems like a nice thing to do. But yeah, that's my overall comparison on the two books, Diary of a Wimpy Kid and Middle School Worst Years of My Life. Overall, I would say Middle School Worst Years of My Life is a bit better. Just this might be unpopular because um, Diary of a Wimpy Kid is an institution, but I don't know. I don't like Greg, and that spoils it for me. That ruins the whole book. And that's all for now. See you tomorrow, perhaps, for my Survivor recap video. I'll see if I can get the audio fixed so I can put gameplay over my Survivor commentary videos. That's all for now. Goodbye.